Good morning. We are here for Friday morning mat class. A little bit of a core workout. Well, hopefully a lot of bit of a core workout and some other strengthening around our center and do things like arms and legs as well. So you're going to want a little collection of props if you can. Something for between the inner thighs, a block or a ball. Some weights for arm and shoulder work, potentially. All of these are optional, and a flex band. All right. Maybe something under your head, so as you lie down, your head is not feeling uncomfortable against the floor. That simple discomfort under the back of the head can actually cause us to tense our necks and jaws, right? So making your head comfortable is worth it. I'm going to change my camera angle and lie down and breathe with you guys this morning. We'll be in a bent knee position with the feet flat to the ground. Now for the initial breathing, you can choose to have a block between your knees or not, a block or a ball, with music and ball this morning. And then do little fidgeting, right? Get yourself in the spot where you no longer feel like you need to fidget to be comfortable. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And just keep that going. Notice where the breath goes and how your body feels at the points where it is in contact with the mat. Then relax into the mat or through those points of contact rather than tightening and holding and resisting ground. Often, the more you relax into the back of the pelvis and the tailbone as they contact the ground, as well as into the bottoms of the feet, then the easier it will be for the breath to move downward. Inhales dropping down until it finally rests very briefly in the center of your pelvis against pelvic floor muscles. And then from that point, exhales rise. Keep that going, and we are going to add a little bit of technique at this point. So bearing in mind that you remain utterly relaxed through your contact points with the ground, the neck and the shoulders and the ribs specifically, as you exhale, go to the end of the breath, feel a heaviness inside the pelvis that's not unpleasant, but simply a release of the muscles. And then with each exhale, even though you think you're done, perhaps exhale 1 or 2% more at the end of the breath. And that 1 or 2% more very likely, pardon me, will cause pelvic floor muscles to respond and get that deepest response in the transversus muscle, which is your chief core muscle, which does support that whole section between the bottom of the pelvis and the bottom of your interior ribs. We begin to add a little bit of inner thigh squeeze or awareness. If you're not holding a ball, no problem. You can bring the inner knees together. Focusing mostly on the exhale for now this morning. Don't tense the external abs. Don't try to quote unquote pull your gut in, right? And do keep a neutral posture. Exhale one more time. Inhale. And the next time you exhale, about halfway through the breath, when you begin to feel deep muscles engaging, also make your imprint, pulling the low spine close to the mat, maybe even into full contact with the floor as the tail lengthens away. Inhale, release to neutral. Exhale and imprint. Combining that very deep connection now with a surface activation, the lower abs contracting inward. And then inhale, return to neutral, surface abs lengthening. Do this 2 more times through the whole cycle where you're imprinting on exhale. And then as you release on your inhale, try not to lift the bottom of the ribs forward or to tighten the shoulders in an effort to pin them back. Do one more imprint and release. Feeling that the chest is open and deep, the shoulders are uninvolved in the inhale breath. And when you've returned to neutral, pause there. Exhale, hold neutral, squeeze the ball. Holding neutral, squeezing the ball, we now shift our focus to inhale. When you inhale, relax through ribs and shoulders and chest, and allow the sides of the bottom ribs to open outward as the diaphragm in the bottom of the ribs contracts downward. And simply release that on your exhale. Diaphragm contracts downward on the inhale, creating negative pressure in the chest that draws the air in. And then diaphragm releases on the exhale. So think of this diaphragmatic action as like pulling back the plunger on a syringe. I know we have some medical people in the room and we've all seen syringes work. If you pull that plunger back, in this case down, then the space created fills, right? In this case with breath. Releasing the diaphragm, releasing the plunger, just enables the air to flow out easily. You know, that's kind of a cold utilitarian example, but it's precisely what's going on. Exhale one more time. And extend your arms forward to the ceiling. Please don't use a weight or weights at this point. We'll reach the arms back and forth. I want you to stay here and have another exhale. And on the inhale breath, as you pull the diaphragm downward and deposit breath in the base of the lungs, reach your arms in the other direction, back. Biceps moving back toward the ears. Return on exhale. As the breath moves upward, the arms move in essence downward, returning to where you started from. Inhale, breath moves downward toward the pelvis as the arms reach up and back. And then as you exhale, of course, the breath moves upward and the arms move downward. Please do 2 more times. And this is deliberately designed to bring awareness to the counterflow of breath and movement, allowing that to ground the base of the shoulders and release the base of the neck. One more. Inhale, reach back. Maintain tone in inner thighs and sides of waist. And exhale, return. With the arms reaching vertically forward toward the ceiling, inhale, separate the shoulder blades apart from each other on the back. The back of the edges of the shoulders might lift from the mat. And then inhale, go the other way. Retract the shoulder blades, pulling the top of the shoulders back toward ground. Inhale, reach forward. Edges of the shoulders might lift as the chest narrows. And then exhale, draw backward, chest widens. Do that just one more time. And then finally, settle into a centered spot with the arms still vertical. Exhale here, and keeping the hands shoulder distance, imagine you're squeezing in on something. On the inhale, open the arms out wide to the side, stretch wise. And on the exhale, bring the arms forward, only closing them to the spacing or width of the shoulders. 3 more of these, opening to the side, the inhale breath moving downward. And then as the exhale breath moves upward through the crown, the arms come forward of the shoulders. 2 more. And 1 more. And honestly, this is just an extension of your breath warm-up. You say just, but that's kind of the whole tamale here. Keep the arms reaching forward, and we end with our rope pull exercise. Reach one arm forward, the shoulder comes off the mat, and then grab an imaginary rope, and as you exhale, pull it down. Inhale, other arm reaches forward, shoulder lifts, and exhale, pull it down. And you'll get a rocking here across the shoulder girdle chiefly, but also across the back of the middle rib cage. Bottom of the ribs and base of the neck will move slightly. And let it feel kind of lazy in the neck and the head, kind of lazy in the hips. When you've completed 1 more to each side, arms fall to the ground. And you might remove or lower your head mat. Mine's low enough, so I'm going to keep it where it is. Changing to hip rolls, warming up more through the entire length of the spine. Inhale in place, breath moves downward. Begin your exhale, lightly squeezing the ball, and move into your imprint. We pause there for just the first one. Assess whether in your imprint you're actually stretching long or you've merely changed the shape of your spine. You need to do both. Continue with that idea. And now exhale, roll up a vertebra at a time, both changing the shape of the spine and stretching it long. Press directly down into the balls of your feet as well as the heels, extending the hips fully as you come to rest on your shoulders. Inhale at the top, standing firmly on the feet, and then exhale, roll it down. Bending through each joint in the spine, changing the shape dynamically, preserving length. Do 2 more, please. You don't need to pause and imprint anymore unless you preferred that or found it useful. Exhale and roll it up. Flexing the spine from the bottom to the top and eventually landing in neutral. And exhale, roll it down. Now the flexion ripples downward from the top of the shoulders through each level of the spine until you're resting in neutral on the floor. One last time, pay attention to your feet. Remembering to relax internally through the bottom of the ribs as you exhale. That'll make movement in the mid-spine a lot easier. Tuck that bit of knowledge away. And then exhale, roll it down. At the bottom here, in neutral, keep the ball if you can stand it. You can have a moment to stretch your legs if your hamstrings got a little overactivated. But then pretty quickly come to a place where you slip your hands behind your head, retaining neutral spinal posture, and you start to prepare for ab prep with a couple of movements in the upper body, starting with the head nod. As you cradle the head in your hands, inhale and tilt the chin downward. With your thumbs, kind of test the back of your neck. Make sure it's not active or tense. And then exhale, release the nod. Inhale, nod the head downward. Feel that this is an action of the muscles of your throat. And exhale, release. Do that 1 more time, able to nod the head without involving effort through the arms, although they are in this sort of lifted, weird position. And then release. Now, with the hands behind the head, move the shoulder blades and collarbones up on the inhale and down on the exhale. Now this, you should be able to accomplish without involving the neck. Just like we were able to nod the head without using the shoulders, we should be able to move the shoulders without straining the neck. Settle all of those upper body movements into a neutral position, and on the next exhale, very lightly squeeze the ball, settling the pelvis as well. Nod the chin to the chest, ready for ab prep or forward bend. And then as you exhale, begin to bend forward from the upper body, back of the head, base of the neck and shoulders lifting. Hold, inhale, and exhale to lower. We do a set of 6. Nod the chin on your inhale, not needing to yank your head around with your arms. And then as you exhale, bend forward, releasing the inside of the ribs and sliding the outside of your bottom ribs. And that is where you should be feeling most of this work. Inhale at the top and exhale to lower. Continue through your set of 6. I'll do a couple more and then I'm going to sit up and check out you guys' movement. Probably finishing your last or next to last repetition. And when you've lowered down from that last one, take a moment to catch your breath. You can stretch your legs. Right. I see everyone finish now. Flex and point your feet a couple of times. And then swish the feet side to side like windshield wipers. Finally, taking the feet into circles, both feet circling clockwise or the other direction, but both feet moving in the same sense. And then both feet reversing, so still circling in the same sense, but in the opposite direction. Then shake out those feet and just once stretch long, pointing through the toes, and feel the back of your glutes working to really open the front of the hips. Now roll over onto your belly. I'll join you again and we'll continue into breaststroke preps. So lying on your belly, you'll stretch long and repeat the action you just did. Engaging the glutes, pointing your toes. You can have your hands wherever they're comfortable. Have a breath or two where you squeeze the glutes, find your core, and without bearing down or forward through the pubic bones, simply settle the front of the pelvis into the mat. Get to that point where you feel the front of the hip creases, where the thigh joins the pelvis, releasing. And then we'll have breaststroke prep number 1, position with the arms. I'll get the blanket out of the way so you can see. Elbows are bent and forearms are parallel to each other with the hands up near the shoulders. At the bottom, ready for movement, we take a breath. Exhale, engage your core, release the front of the hips and engage the glutes so that you can slide the chest forward and upward. Shoulder blades contracting downward, shoulder tops widening as you extend the spine up to the bottom of the rib cage. Try not to bear down against the top of the ribs with the shoulder assembly. Keep light here. Inhale and exhale to lower. 3 more. Take a breath, level the pelvis, and exhale, engage your core and glutes, and extend, lengthening the ribs, sliding the shoulders down, but not pressing them into the ribs, not pushing from your neck. Inhale here and exhale, lower. Last 2. Prepare with that breath in and then exhale. Extend. As you extend, notice if the pelvis has a tendency to shift or if the quality of support in left and right halves is equal. Inhale at the top, and of course, exhale lower. You've got the choreography by now. On the last repetition, resolve to remain balanced in the activation of both internal muscles and external muscles. And then when you've lowered down, pause. Sit back into shell stretch. If you can, sit on your heels and round forward from here. If sitting on your heels just really feels crummy for your knees, your back, or your hips, you can sit on your bum and round forward that way. You're going to want your feet pretty far away from you so you can take the flexion down into the lower ribs and not just have it be at the neck. Have a breath wherever you are and exhale, roll up. And if you're sitting on your rear end, you're already in the perfect position. If you're not, please go ahead and sit up. And you can have a blanket under your tush, or maybe even a chair. Tush, technical term. I had to go to school to learn that one. Yeah. All right. So you want a little bit of space behind you so you don't roll off of your blanket or whatever you're working on. Okay. You're going to sit up nice and tall, and you can use a ball if you like between your ankles or your knees, and roll the shoulders a couple of times, extend the arms forward. You recall we've done that little protraction and retraction a couple of times. Do that again. And when you settle the shoulders in a neutral position, lift them up and relax them down a couple of times. Don't push them down until they're straining on your ribs or pulling on your neck. Just rest them lightly. In your upright position, you'll be on your sitting bones. So you take a breath here. Exhale, feel core response deep in the lower pelvis, and use the lower surface abs to roll back. Rolling off of your sitting bones, you'll move on to the glute muscles and pull the front of your pelvis away from the top of your thighs. Inhale in your half roll back. It's only halfway. Top of our head and chest is upright. And then exhale, return. Retain upright reach through top of head, chest, and shoulders, and lift the rest of the spine underneath you. Have a breath. Inhale and exhale, roll back again. Wait till you feel core response deep inside the belly, in the lower belly, and then contract the surface and roll back, staying upright through the chest, head, and shoulders, reaching the arms forward, not bearing down. Exhale and return. Please do 2 more of these, and I'll pause at this point and watch your own movement. Last one. When you finish the last one, relax for a moment. Return to sitting and rest your arms. Good. At this point, you might want to use your flex band. It's possible to do this next thing without a flex band, but if you have one, grab it. I'll turn away from you for a moment. We're going to put the flex band behind the back. So underneath the armpits. All right. And then hold on to the tails in front. So we're going to keep the elbows dropped and the hands parallel at first. Right. And I'd like you to very slightly, I'll turn again, round to a slight forward bend as though you'd done an ab prep. Holding here, as you inhale, move the breath down under the curve in your upper back, under the bottom of the shoulder blades. And on your exhale, Lift the center of the chest up without bearing down on the shoulder tops. Inhale, a little forward bend, chasing the inhale breath downward. Inhale breath continues down through the bottom of the ribs into the pelvis, and then exhale lifts you. Now stay upright and see if you can inhale and get that same quality of openness down through the base of the shoulder blades. And that same uplift of the exhale breath under the center of the heart, all without moving. Now here we are. You can keep the arms in this forward position if you like, or you can open them out to the sides a little bit. If you open them out to the sides, you can even go towards straight arms, but please don't hyperextend your arms. If nothing else, it's gross. All right, so here we are. Inhale, move the breath down through the bottom of the shoulder blades and ribs, and exhale, twist as you feel a lift under the center part of the heart. Inhale, return to front, breath easily moving down, and exhale, twist in the other direction. Continue, and of course, if your arms are closer, that's okay too. We're using the flex band as kind of a sensor for the back of the body, which we can't look at. And sometimes it's hard to feel. Do another time across the sides, continuing this as both a breathing exercise, a postural exercise, and a twisting. So I added an extra thing. When you've done that final time, pause and lower your flex band. If you're not using a flex band, no worries. If you are using a flex band, you're going to put it under the bottoms of your feet, and I'll turn sideways. You're going to straighten your knees. Let's get the blanket out from underneath your tush. And if you're sitting on a chair, you're going to have to lie down. I'm really sorry. Well, I'm not that sorry. Okay. So we're going to do roll down. Yeah. Remembering the ease in the upper back as we breathed. As we breathed in and as we breathed out, none of the breath got stuck in the chest or the shoulders, ideally, or that was where we were headed. So flex band around the bottoms of your feet. Please hang your toes out the top so the band doesn't come off. So safety feature. You can have a little softness in the knees so they're adaptable. We'll inhale, sit up tall, taking the breath right down below the shoulder blades, lower down through the bottom of the ribs. And then as you exhale, release the breath upward, roll back. Because you are releasing the diaphragm internally, bending through the bottom of the ribs and the middle of the spine should occur pretty easily on the way down. On the floor, you'll inhale and use only the throat muscles to nod the head. And as you exhale and feel lift under the heart, bend forward. Bending through the bottom of the ribs is a little bit more challenging in this case because we're fighting gravity, but you shouldn't be fighting tension in the bottom of the ribs. Inhale. Exhale, roll down again. Now, externally, your rib muscles are working hard. Right, you'll feel that on the way back up. Inhale and nod, move the shoulder support downward, exhale, bend. Sliding the obliques, try not to shorten the neck. And for some of us, this exercise is a work in progress, right? Myself included. Inhale, roll up. And please roll down to the mat 2 more times. Last one. Once you've gone down to the mat one more time and ended there, very carefully slip your feet out of the flex band. Don't snap yourself in the nose. We are going to lie on our backs and use the flex band for the 100. And so you'll want to keep hold of it in some sense, or keep track of it. And then if you are adapting your 100 or your tabletop position in any way, go ahead and move into that place. You can do this with feet on the wall or feet on a chair. Okay, so flex band in one hand. The first time we're moving into tabletop here. So find your neutral. We've newly returned to lying on the back in a more steady way. Exhale once in neutral and feel those deeper layers of core. We do that again. Divide the breath up into 3 segments. Hands on the lower belly, exhale a little bit. Exhale a little bit more. And a final time. Now I have to pause and talk and take breath in between. Try that another time, 3 segments of exhale, and feel that not only does the belly drop inward more deeply, but pelvic floor responds more reliably, and you get a feeling of intensification under the surface of the skin, deep in the bowl of the pelvis. See if you can divide the breath up into 5 segments. Now, we're going to try to use 5 segments, not only on the exhale, but on the inhale as we do the 100 exercise. But if you find getting to that 4th or 5th one creates havoc for your neck and shoulders, you have explicit permission to stop at 3, for instance, or maybe 4. All right, so let's move on. Exhale and make your imprint. One smooth exhale. Intensification inside, intensification outside. You do want to feel the abs contracting. Once you've got that inside outside dual support, exhale and lift a leg into tabletop. Relax the center of the chest. Remember, your abs aren't up in your throat. And exhale, lift the other leg. The knees are together, the feet are side by side, but if you find that you need a little bit of a spacer, you can certainly put a ball or block between the knees. Take your flex band, once you've decided where you want to work, ball or blockwise, and drape it over your shins, just below your knees, and choke up pretty far on the sides of the band, especially if you have a lighter one. Bend the elbows a little bit, and then holding tight to the flex band, exhale in one long, deep breath out. Straighten the elbows using your triceps. Try that 2 more times. Release a little through the triceps, not a big bend. Inhale, feel the chest opening. And exhale, activate the back of your upper arms, stretching through their length. One more time. And as you do that, you should feel response in the lower abs. Now here's where we work. If you're going to bend forward, you will nod your chin to your chest. Keeping the head down is an option. On your exhale, bend forward from the mat, ab prep wise. Begin here, pulsing the arms 5 times. Keep that going. 5 or 5-ish pulses with the inhale and with the exhale. The arms coordinate with that. And we do 10 sets. You're probably 3 or 4 sets in at this point. So count the remainder until you reach 10 total. Remember how it felt to use your triceps and the relationship of that to your lower abs. Remember the relationship of breath to the state of the bottom of your ribs. And don't let your breath get stuck in the back of your neck or even behind your heart. When you've completed your last set, you'll just inhale smoothly, and I'll watch for that. Exhale and lower, smoothly breathing out. Put your band off to the side and exhale, put a foot down. Keep the pelvis balanced and exhale, put the other foot down. Stretch out nice and long on the mat and flex and point your feet a couple of times. You can switch the feet side to side. We are going to be rolling over onto our front again and opening the hips. When you've had a minute to slow the breath down and to get comfortable in the body, roll over into a prone position and have your arms long by your sides. So the setup for this lower body wise is exactly like it was with our initial prone work. You might want to blanket under your forehead so your nose is still able to take air in. The shoulders are going to slump forward. Let them do that. Part of this exercise is placing the shoulder blades into neutral. So we start from an out of place position. And as you exhale, reach through your legs, activate your glutes equally left and right. Inner thighs ideally are together or as close as they come. Legs will stay on the floor and stay lightly active. And on the next inhale breath, open the chest and unshrug the shoulders, lifting your arms, your shoulders, your hands away from the mat, palms facing in. Exhale and balance the hips and shoulders and begin to contract the bottom of the shoulder blades and allow the chest to lift and come to a hover. Hold the hover. Inhale, maintaining the place of the shoulders. And exhale, lower. Now allow the shoulders to release forward. Again, inhale, square off the shoulders, stretch through your fingertips, and exhale, connect to your core, engaging your glutes equally, sliding up and reaching long. Top of the chest hovers. Release the front of the hips. Inhale here and exhale to lower. Releasing shoulders forward. Please do two more. Inhale, placing shoulders, and exhale, rising. Have a breath, and exhale, lower. And you should feel your triceps here. So just like you did in the 100, place the shoulders, stretch the arms, feel your triceps, and exhale, rise. Comfortable space between the shoulders and the top of the ribs. When you've lowered, pause. We're going to bring the hands under the forehead or find some alternate position if hands under the forehead doesn't feel quite right. Exhale, engage your core, lightly engage the glutes, and know that we'll be using those muscles to lift the legs. And locate the joint between the back of the hip joint, between the bottom of your glutes and the top of your thighs. And we're going to lift through this area. Inhale, stretch through the legs. Exhale, engage your core and work the glutes even more intensely to lift the legs up. Stretch through the front of the hips and relax the upper body. Inhale and exhale to lower. Very likely you do not use your legs to the same degree or with the same timing, so work on that. 3 more repetitions. Exhale, engaging the core and lifting the legs, using your glutes to lift your legs. Hold the lift or extension of the hips and exhale, lower. Repeating final couple of times. Stay relaxed and almost uninvolved through the upper body, except in the sense that you maintain continuity through the spine. And when you're done with that last one, just roll, pardon me, over and lie on your back. We'll stretch in an upside down shell stretch here. Bring the knees in toward the chest, support them with your hands. And before yanking the knees in abruptly, exhale and make an imprint, easing length into the low back. And then slowly, as you keep the top of the shoulders relaxed, apply your biceps to pull the knees inward. Inhale, back off a little bit. This is not percussive at all, but it is a little bit dynamic. We'll exhale and squeeze inward using biceps. And we are wanting to be, we do this last one, aware of the shoulders. How do you pull your legs in? Do you do it with your neck or by gritting your teeth? Or can you really use the muscles in the upper arms? Inhale, back off. And instead of pulling the knees this time inward on the exhale, we're going to keep the imprint and guide the legs into tabletop once more. From legs in tabletop position, we're going to dip the toes down and up a couple times across the sides to warm up that cross-body connection through the obliques. Arms open to the sides, palms up is fine, especially if the shoulders like to close. We exhale and slowly dip one set of toes down. The knee remains bent. We're tracking through the line of the inner thigh. You feel an intensification not only of your core, but of your abs that hold your posture. And then as you inhale and pick the toes up, allow the breath to pass down through the shoulder blades, through the bottom of the ribs. Exhale, dip the other side. And inhale, pick it up. Do a total of 3 across the sides. Try not to press the shoulders down onto the ribs. I've been kind of beating that drum this morning, but it's important with regard to your neck and even with regard to which muscles are working. You're not going to get the ab workout that you want to get if you're using muscles other than your abs to do these movements in general. When you've done your last one, your third one side to side, allow the knees to fall in toward the chest and do a little bit of pulse rocking. Again, nothing violent or abrupt, just a little bit of a release. You can even rock side to side. It's been shown that little kids do that kind of rocking because it's very soothing. Yes. So when your lower back is soothed, let's go ahead and press the legs into tabletop, keeping imprint. We've got imprint, and if you need to, you can have the feet down, either on the toes or on the heels, but imprint is a given. Hands go behind the head. Returning to twist after bending forward, we nod the chin to the chest and exhale, bend from the mat. Inhale at the top, and on your exhale breath, twist to one side through the waist, the ribs, and the shoulders. Inhale, return through center, and exhale other way. Keep that going. Now I tend to move very slowly. I'd like you to do a complete set of 4 to each side. In general, moving slowly helps you to tease apart the muscles that you're using. And again, specificity matters. I think again is my favorite word because we're doing so many things at once. And this practice is foundational. Everything you use at the beginning builds through each movement that you do. Get that last one done to each side. And then if your feet are lifted, we'll lower the head back to the mat. And then if the feet are lifted, you can lower them a breath at a time. One exhale, and then the other. All right, you can stretch your legs out long briefly if you like. We're going to intersperse bits of flexion, hip flexion, with hip extension as we work through the obliques. When you've had a chance to recover, return to a bent knee position and have a thin layer of mat under your head. We will be doing shoulder bridge, and so returning to that bridge position where we're resting on the back of the shoulders means we don't want to push the head forward with a really high blanket. Ball or block between feet or ankles. Now this is different than hip rolls in that we're going to keep neutral all the way up and down as we work into the extension of the hips. This still requires oblique work or balance across the diagonals of the body, left to right, right to left. Place your feet and have one long, smooth exhale where you are. And then inhale in preparation for the bridge. Shoulders open, arms back. Exhale, press firmly down through the bottoms of the feet, center of the heels, across the balls of the feet, all 10 toes, and come up to that extended hip position where the front of the hips are entirely open. And ta-da, we're using our glutes again. Inhale at the top and exhale lower. Now, as you lower, this tends to be the more tricky bit with core and with posture. It's easy to get sloppy. Keep neutral without tension in the spine and let the hips lower through the inner thighs or through the inner part of the hip joint. Take a breath. We repeat. Exhale, press up. Hit that position at the top. Create the neutral in your hips and remainder of the spine that you want to walk around with. And then exhale, lower down. We do just one more as we intersperse our flexion and our extension. Your hip extensors are in your hips, not in your chest or in your neck. So you know that, but remind your body of that. And when you've lowered the last time, put the ball off to the side or block. Have a breath in and out. And we'll make our imprint. Use an exhale to do that, both lengthening the spine and changing its shape, contracting internally through core and externally through low abs. So if you poked yourself with your finger in your low belly, you'll feel underneath a deeper firming that does not allow you to poke in very far. No Pillsbury Doughboys. And if you touch the surface, you'll feel an external contraction that maintains good support for the position of your spine. Exhale and lift one leg to tabletop. Do the same for the second leg. Hands behind the head, we return to twisting through the spine and we add the element of the leg stretching, so full obliques. Inhale, nod the chin to the chest. Exhale and bend forward. Now we're going to approach this from the bottom up. So hold the forward bend. Take a breath. Exhale, extend one leg. Inhale and bend it. Exhale, extend the other leg. Inhale and bend it. Do again. Hold tabletop and exhale, lower your head. Without the help of your arms, let your knees drop a little bit inward toward the chest and scooch the hips longer. Now we add the twist of the spine to that movement of the legs. Begin by placing the legs in tabletop. Keep your weight in your tailbone Inhale, nod your chin to your chest. Exhale, bend forward. Take a breath. Exhale, extend one leg and twist across to the other bent knee. Inhale, return through center, both legs bent, and exhale, other side. Keep that pattern going, 5 to each side. Rolling across the back of the ribs and the shoulder blades, but not pushing or pulling from the arms or the shoulders. Continue through the remainder of your set. And when you're even across the sides, pause with the legs in tabletop and keep your imprint as you exhale to lower your head. Beautiful. Exhale, feet down one at a time. And when the feet are down, return to neutral spine. Good. Roll over onto your front after you've had a chance to catch your breath and stretch your legs. You can rest your forehead on your hands, or again, find some alternate position of the arms that allows you to have comfort in the upper body. Activate the legs, right? So we've got the core, of course. We're in hip extension now. So you want the glutes working in a steady way. So the previous exercise in hip flexion, we alternated the movement of the legs. Now in hip extension, we'll do the same. So balance the pelvis, balance its relationship upstream and integrate the spine. And then as you exhale, lift both legs from the mat. Hold the lift of the legs, and on your inhale, lower one down. Exhale, pick it up. And I guess that's what I meant by hold the lift of the legs. Inhale, lower one down, and exhale, pick it up. So what we're really holding is the extension of the hips and alternately lowering and lifting a leg. Now you can keep with the slower pattern, or you can take it into a flutter kick. Rest the upper body. I was lifting my head so I could speak. And we continue this for a half a minute more. Do not use the front of your hips to hold hip extension, right? Don't build a little barrier at the base of the pelvis in front. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale, lower. Good. Put your hands under your shoulders and slide your hips back. You can sit into shell here again if you like. Of course, you have that alternate version available. And in whatever version of shell you're doing, we're still trying to target stretch in the lower and middle part of the back without overstraining into the neck or the shoulders. Chest does come forward, but the chief bend is lower down. You can walk your hands to one side, whether you're sitting on your heels or on your hips, and add a little twist. Walk your hands to the other side if you've elected to do that stretch. Return through center, and please sit up. So I'm going to get my blanket again. You can sit up on a chair. We're not going to pop up and down this time, so if you're more comfortable sitting on a chair, please sit on a chair. And have the legs out in front. I'm going to adjust my camera just a bit. So your legs can be anywhere from straight, right, to a little bent. Of course, if you're up on a chair, you're going to have more toward a 90-degree angle. We do want the pelvis to be comfortably vertical without a lot of tightness in the front of the hips or in the back for that matter. So for myself, I kind of stretch the legs out and let them just hang. All right. We're going to do a little bit of side bending here. We haven't done a lot of work for the sides of the torso, and your obliques wrap around the sides, so it's important to get that component as well. We're going to start with just a stretch. I'm going to say put your left hand down just for the sake of clarity, and bring your right hand behind the back of your head. Move the elbow closed and open a couple of times. Feel it settling, the shoulder that is, without bearing down. And support the back of your head as you begin to inhale and stretch upward through the elbow, bending lightly at the neck. And then exhale and bending toward the arm that's down, in this case, the left side. You got a little support from that bottom hand and a lot of stretch through the muscles of the side of the waist. Can you, on an exhale breath, selectively contract between the bottom of the right side ribs and hips to bring you up a little bit? Inhale, let that go. And exhale, side of the ribs. One more time. If you're doing that, bring yourself all the way up and lower the hand. We do the same little exploration to the other side. So right hand is down, left hand supports the head. And this is just our warm-up. We're going to do a bigger one. Once you're square, you inhale, lift up left elbow and begin to tilt the head in the opposite direction. Don't force. And finally, exhale, bend. And you can adjust your bottom hand to the degree of bend in your spine. Breathe here. There's a nice open stretch between the bottom of left ribs and top of the left pelvis. On an exhale, see if you can selectively contract there. Now that means you're not contracting in the shoulder, and you're certainly not contracting in the neck. The head is comfortably cupped in the hand. Come all the way up. And lower the arm. So we can work with the same position of the arms, or we can elect to have both hands behind the head. We're going to do 5 of those pulses to each side in the range that you feel safe moving in, without rocking the pelvis or lifting the hips, without twisting the spine. Here or here. We inhale, take a breath, release upward underneath the sides of the waist and downward into the inhale. And then exhale, bend to the first side. Don't make it be a big bend at the neck. The bend is down here. And then on the exhale, bring yourself up to center. Inhale off to the side. Exhale. 5 of these. When you've returned from the last one, lower your arms and twist to the left, the side you just bend to, and have a little bit of movement here, softening the chest and the shoulders before returning to front. And of course, we do the other side. So here are your options. Sitting bones settled. Inhale, breath doesn't get stuck in the chest. It moves all the way down as you feel a release upward underneath the armpits. And then exhale, bend to the opposite side. Contract left side of the waist on exhale. So we've taken a breath in that bend. 5 times. Be specific. One more. And when you've completed your last one, arms come down. Twist in the direction you were just bending toward, and add any other little movements. No, we're done with the main part of our workout. We are going to do one roll down and roll up. So when you're ready, return to center. And I understand we're over a minute or two here, so if you need to go, I get it. But if you can stay for another couple rounds of breath from that center facing, inhale, let the chin slide downward without pressure in the neck or from the shoulders. And then exhale, soften underneath the breastbone and bend forward, supple in the upper back and chest on your way down. Go down as far as it's productive or beneficial. At the bottom, let the bottom of the pelvis, the front of the pelvis rather, move forward rather than press backward. Inhale. And slowly on the exhale, roll up. Feel a lift under the base of your heart. An opening across the width of your shoulders. Space in the length of your neck. Head right on top. Inhale. Exhale, sigh. And that's it for today, you guys. A very basic core and breathing class. I'm going to turn the recording off. Thanks for playing along and have a really good weekend.
Okay.
Thanks.